Javanese wayang functions as a massive, interconnected network of stories, predating the modern concept of a cinematic universe by centuries. Over generations, storytellers have woven together hundreds of distinct characters, overlapping plotlines, and branching spin-offs. But a decentralized world built by thousands of different authors over hundreds of years guarantees a massive problem: frequent continuity errors, contradictory origin stories, and giant plot holes. On top of that, character motivations written in ancient texts frequently fail to age well for modern audiences. That brings us to a specific wayang story called Arjuna Tumbal, which serves as our primary case study. On the surface, it reads like a standard mythological adventure, featuring a kidnapped prince and a magical plague. Beneath the surface, Arjuna Tumbal shows us the mechanics of storytelling repair. It's a narrative engineered to bridge gaps and reconcile contradictions. The inciting incident goes like this. King Suryaasmara's kingdom is dying from a plague, and a prophecy dictates that only the blood of the hero Arjuna can cure it. Desperate to save his people, the reluctant king sends a giant assassin to kidnap the prince. Let's pause the in-universe story right here and look at the author's meta-notes at the end of the text. This flowchart shows the original plot on the left. The ancient text featured no plague. The king wanted to sacrifice Arjuna for a love potion. The modern author rejected this, replacing a selfish desire with the urgent need to stop a deadly epidemic. This deliberate patch transforms the antagonist from a petty domestic abuser into a tragic, sympathetic leader, forced into a terrible moral dilemma to protect his citizens. Back in the story, the giant assassin kidnaps Arjuna. They fight, and while Arjuna wins, he is badly poisoned by the giant's bite. The wounded prince is rescued by a forest priest and nursed back to health by the priest's daughter. Arjuna marries her and gets her pregnant, and then abruptly leaves 2 months later to return to his primary wives. Why would a writer spend time introducing these obscure forced characters, only to abandon them a few paragraphs later? The author's notes reveal a second structural patch. He explicitly rejected the names of these characters from the original source text and gave them entirely new ones. This story node graph shows exactly why. He chose these new names because that unborn child needs to become the future protagonist of a completely different wayang spin-off called Kisah Tunggarana. This is franchise showrunning. The writer is planting deliberate lore seeds to ensure entirely separate narratives connect flawlessly down the line. We reach the story's climax. The king launches an attack on Arjuna's home, is swiftly defeated, and a grand misunderstanding is brought to light. The gods never wanted Arjuna slaughtered. They only required a simple blood donation to cure the earth. Arjuna willingly cuts his own arm to save the rival kingdom. Simultaneously, Arjuna's 2 main wives each give birth to a baby boy, Sumitra and Bratalaras. This family tree highlights a contradiction. 2 women are claimed as Sumitra's mother. To fix this error, the author writes that one wife became a wet nurse for both babies. This sparks a rumor they were twins, logically explaining the historical confusion. It takes a messy, real-world clerical error and turns it into a logical plot detail that deepens the bonds between the characters. In the end, the blood cures the plague, and the newborn babies are given names symbolizing an equal alliance between the formerly warring kingdoms. We often treat ancient myths and epics as static museum pieces, assuming their texts are permanently carved into stone. Arjuna Tumbal proves that mythology functions as an active, evolving narrative technology. Modern storytellers, the Dalong, serve as the mechanics of this system. They keep the engine running, acting as the custodians of a lore that is never truly finished. They constantly reshape, patch, and elevate these stories to ensure they remain logically sound and morally resonant for the people listening today. A myth doesn't survive for centuries by staying exactly the same. It survives because someone carefully engineers it to make sense for the next generation.